Basic or narrow AI, artificial intelligence, has been around for quite a while now, and it makes complex programs like Alexa, Google Assistant, and self-driving cars possible. But we're about to use it to invent the most powerful technology in all of human history. Once we reach a point that's referred to as general AI, it can basically do anything that a human can do. Self-driving cars like this Tesla are capable of being fully autonomous right now, it's just government regulations have to catch up. Artificial intelligence in cars like these uses 4D radar, which produces real-time 3D modeling so they know exactly where everything is on the road. Computer vision is a field of artificial intelligence itself that actually trains the computers to interpret and understand the visual world. It's actually interpreting and analyzing information from at least 8 cameras on these vehicles. Time just keeps moving along, month by month, year by year, while the quiet community of artificial intelligence developers get closer and closer to reaching general intelligence. The experts predict by 2029 we'll achieve general artificial intelligence. The world as we know it could change extremely fast from that point. It can program itself and it can replicate itself. So where do we go from there? Well, the experts say it could go either way. It could be very good, or it could be the end of the human race as we know it. And part of me wishes it was, but the other part's a little excited to see what happens actually. At the very least, it should get your gears turning. AI uses neural networks to simulate the human brain in order to recognize patterns and to make decisions in a human-like way. Deep learning algorithms allow for AI to learn from unstructured and unlabeled data completely unsupervised. By far, the game Go is the oldest and most difficult game on the face of the earth, and it has 10 to the power of 360 potential moves during the game. AlphaGo was created by Google's DeepMinds back in 2014.
You can see this in things like AlphaGo, which went from, in the span of maybe 6 to 9 months, it went from being unable to beat even a reasonably good Go player to then beating the European world champion who was ranked 600, then beating Lisa Doll 4-5, who had been world champion for many years, then beating the current world champion, then beating everyone while playing simultaneously. Then there was AlphaZero, which crushed AlphaGo 100-0. And AlphaZero just learned by playing itself, and it can play basically any game that you put the rules in for. Whatever rules you give it, it literally read the rules, play the game, and be superhuman.
This is just incomprehensible and mind-bending. On top of that, the fact that this was back in 2014 and the pace of AI is improving, but pretty much kept in secret for the most part. Now you remember Elon Musk in the video said AlphaZero crushed AlphaGo 100-0 by learning on its own and putting the rules in. It could play any game superhuman. Now AlphaZero's successor program is a program called Mu0, M-U-0. And not many people talk about that or have heard of it yet because it just came out about a year and a half ago. I don't understand how it's possible, but you don't even need to put the rules of the game in for this machine to learn. It basically learns by trial and error. We are currently in an arms race that is kept somewhat quiet, while behind the scenes there are countries developing autonomous killing machines. They're getting manufactured at a ridiculous rate and can make independent decisions to engage targets. When general intelligence is reached, this will be our first concern of existential risk. Once we reach a point where we have a sentient machine, like what do we do? Google is on the cutting edge of all of this technology, and they're one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, technology company on Earth. Ray Kurzweil is the head of engineering at Google and has an 86% prediction correctness when it comes to technology. Easily one of the smartest men on the planet.
Can't communicate wirelessly with the cloud today. I do that through my devices, so this have to take the device out and use my fingers, my eyes. We'll do that directly from our neocortex, because these devices, they'll be communicating with each other on a local area network within your brain, and also communicating with the internet and the cloud, and they will extend human thinking.
Did this man really just say that we would somehow be directly hooked to the cloud and the internet? Well, yes, he most definitely did, and he's not just some conspiracy theorist. He is the head of engineering at Google. A company called NEURALINK is probably closest to inventing this technology and already has a primitive version of it that works in rats. Just take a look at the fact that we have our cell phones with us non-stop, so what if we were actually hooked up to them by our brain? Basically, we already rely on our cell phones or smartphones to think and process information for us. So when we do end up putting this technology directly into our brain with a BMI or brain-machine interface, we basically become superhuman. And yes, it gets even crazier because a whole new type of communication will evolve from this. The fact that we will be able to basically visit the inside of each other's minds doesn't even make sense right now to us because we've never done it. It'd be like trying to explain to a caveman how to learn algebra or speak English. We have already pressed the button to release all this technology, so there's no turning back. Technology just keeps growing at an exponential rate, and once AI reaches general intelligence that's basically indistinguishable from a human, we'll never be able to beat it, so the only option is to join it. The biggest fear is once general intelligence is reached, it will start programming itself that can think millions of times faster than any human, potentially reaching super intelligence of a matter of days or weeks from this point. We will not even understand it because it will be billions of times smarter than all of humans put together. Now, if it doesn't have our best interests in mind, we can easily be wiped out by a mistake or miscommunication with this form of AI. Or it could help us beyond our wildest dreams in ways we could never even think up. For example, imagine being able to take a digital form and then go back to human form and create just about anything we wanted whenever we wanted it. I know this sounds almost crazy, but this technology would literally be millions of years into the future. The most powerful technology in history is underway in development, so you think we'd be paying a lot more attention to it and it would be on the news. Artificial intelligence will be able to harness and build nanotechnology to an extreme that we cannot even imagine as well. Nanobots the size of a blood cell will be inside of our bodies, flowing through our blood, defending from disease and aging, and to the brain, connecting us even faster to the cloud than a brain-machine interface. With nanotechnology, we will be able to develop new materials, chemicals, and use them in ways like never before to solve problems that we have today. We will all use 3D printers called nanoreplicators, and virtually anything can be made atom by atom out of any material. We are already using primitive versions of these machines, and they can actually print organs as well as houses, along with printing new materials in space.
Many impressive prototypes have struggled to become viable for mass production. But things have just taken a massive step forward in Germany with the completion of the first ever 3D printed home to become fully certified under a national government's building regulations.
Construction 3D printer is a machine that can build houses by depositing a material like concrete layer by layer. Construction 3D printing saves time, uses less material, and requires less manual labor.
Quantum computing may even turn out to be more amazing than AI. I know that's hard to believe, but they'll definitely work together in harmony to advance each other, and I personally believe that we will reach general AI by doing this.
Ray, anything you're concerned about, and any
this
advice?
This wasn't what I was going to say, but just to respond, a converse concern is we create AGIs everybody assumes that, of course, it's just a machine and therefore it's not conscious, but actually it is suffering, but we don't look out for its conscious subjective experience because we are making the wrong assumption. But what I did want to say was there are three overlapping revolutions that people talk about: GNR, genetics, biotech, nanotechnology, and robotics, which is AI. And there are proposals, there was the Cellamar conferences done here decades ago for biotech that have worked fairly well. There are similar proposals for nanotechnology. There's a difference with AI in that there really isn't a foolproof technical solution to this. You can have technical controls on, say, nanotechnology. One of the guidelines is it shouldn't be self-replicating. It's not really realistic because it can't scale to meaningful quantities without being self-replicating, but you can imagine technical protections. If you have an AI that's more intelligent than you and it's out for your destruction or it's out for the world's destruction and there's no other AI that's superior to it, that's a bad situation. So that's the specter, and partly this is amplified by our observation of what we as humans, the most intelligent species on the planet, have done to other species. If we look at how we treat animals, people are very like their dogs and pets, but if you look at factory farming, we're not very benign to species that are less intelligent than us. That engenders a lot of the concern we see, that if there's a new type of entity that's more intelligent than us, it's going to treat us like we've treated other species.
The most powerful technology in history is underway in development, so you think we'd be paying a lot more attention to it and it would be on the news. It just seems like the media and whoever controls it does not want people thinking about this very much, or knowing about it for that matter. The one thing we could all start to do is talk about it more on social media. Just make sure to do your research and be as accurate as possible. On YouTube, there are far more searches for things like how to apply makeup than there are for AI or quantum computing combined. So please, we need to get our priorities in order a little bit better if we expect to survive and know what's going on in the future. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment, subscribe, and share if you found value in this. Thanks again.